Alright, today is going to be another guide video for a different game. Today I'm going to be going over all of the different roles in Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. There are quite a few roles to go through, so let's get into it. Starting with North Vietnam, there is the Rifleman Guerrilla. That's equivalent to the Grunt if you're America, South Vietnam, or Australia. They're going to be the backbone of any team. They're going to have assault rifles, a couple grenades. Nothing too special, but there's no limit to how many you can have in a team, so they're very important. That's the majority of players usually, but you really need them, even if it seems boring. At least on the North Vietnamese side, it's pretty fun. Next up, we have the Scout for North Vietnam and the Pointman for South Vietnam. He's going to use submachine guns and explosives to be the first ones into the base and set up, lead the way for the rest of the teams, and to go ahead and find out where enemies are concentrated, where there's a lot of machine guns and such, and report back to the team on where to avoid and where to go. The machine gunner on both sides is pretty straightforward. As it says, he uses a machine gun such as the M60 or the RP46 or the BAR to lay down covering fire, usually from a high position or from behind a bunker, to support teammates running forward. It's recommended to stay stationary in a covered position using this role because it can lead to untimely death because you're very high recoil if you don't have a bipod down or mounted, and it can also end badly if you get caught out because you can't retreat fast because the machine guns are heavy, so they slow you down quite a bit. Next, the Sniper for North Vietnam and the Marksman for South Vietnam. They're pretty much the same role. They use long distance guns such as the SVD Dragunov and the Type XM21 ranged rifle. Use scopes and sometimes some traps to keep the enemy off of them. You use the sniper to use a covered position to take out individual targets with high accuracy and to take down helicopters if you're pretty good. Next, we have the Sapper for North Vietnam and the Combat Engineer for South Vietnam. These are kind of different roles from each other. The Sapper uses usually an SMG, sometimes an assault rifle, to go behind the enemy, lay down explosives, and then run and then detonate them. They're very useful on some maps, not too useful on other maps, more of a close quarters types. They're not very useful on, say, Firebase Georgina, which is mostly open. The Combat Engineer is going to be sort of similar, but use heavier weapons, like the flamethrower is only available for the Combat Engineer, and things like C4, white phosphorus grenades to clear out enemies out of buildings. Next, these two rules are also pretty different. The RPG and the Grenadier. RPG for North, Grenadier for South. RPG, they have the RPG-7 rocket-propelled grenade launcher, which can penetrate most surfaces such as concrete or sandbags or trees to take out enemies that are hiding behind cover and to take out helicopters. If you're a pretty good shot, you can take down a helicopter while it's still flying, get 8 or 9 kills if it's a Huey. The Grenadier is a little bit similar in that they use an explosive. They use the M79 grenade launcher, which can shoot high explosive buckshot and smoke shells to cover the team with indirect fire from behind cover. The role is pretty specialized. It's not similar to really any other roles because you don't really just point where you want to shoot. You have to angle up over things because it's a much slower projectile. The radio man on both sides has a portable radio for the commander to use to call in strikes and special abilities. Usually have an assault rifle or an SMG. Not that special, but important for the team. The commander, of course, leads all of the team members into battle, can call in napalm strikes and artillery for the south, and artillery and reinforcements for the north. You really need one if you want to win a high player battle. The next two roles are only in South Vietnam, the combat and transport pilots. The combat pilot flies a AH-1 Cobra, which has rockets and a rotary cannon for the pilot, and then a chain gun and a grenade launcher for the co-pilot, and also flies the UH-1 Loach, which has a minigun and a radio for the commander in the back. The Australian team can also use a specialized Huey, which has 2 machine guns and rockets with it, along with a minigun for the co-pilot. The transport pilot flies the UH-1 Huey, which is useful for moving around the Allied combatants, especially in maps like Resort, where you only can use the Huey to get to the battlefield at the beginning. It has 2 machine guns and seats for pilot, co-pilot, and then 4 or 6 passengers in the back. Well, that pretty much does it for now, so thanks for watching. Still streaming at twitch.tv/SonOfSean. Can't stop plugging that. Subscribe if you like the content you see. That's about it. See ya.